confirmed the involvement of the state government and civil police with drug trafficking. This is considered a fact when Zandi, or Alexandre Guler Madeira, went 10 years without ever being arrested. According to ZH, Correio do Povo, a monopoly of white people. According to Read Globo, a black or mixed-race person would be killed. He never served time in Presidio Central or Charquetas. Zandi, the state's drug trafficker, has 350 pages in the Court of Justice stating, violent gang, primary activity drug trafficking, private jet of the pagoda singer Alexandre Pires, weapons depot on Avenida Ipiranga, Porto Alegre. Zandi circulated freely in Rio Grande do Sul for years, in luxury cars, Range Rover Evoque and Toyota Hilux. According to the Brigada Militar, the most commonly used vehicle by criminal factions in the state. The Hilux is a fast pickup truck and used to flip police vehicles during escapes. It has 4x4 traction. It is an agile war machine, this Toyota Hilux. Zandi lived in luxury, apartments on the coast, Flamingo condominium in Capao de Canoa, among other properties in Canoas, RS. Zandi, in 10 years, was never arrested in RS. 350 pages in the Court of Justice. Police officer Nilsson Anneli studied law at PUC to manipulate the system. He helped Zandi with routes and escapes via UHF radio waves, charging for information and security services. The involvement is total with Zandi's gang, which controlled trafficking one block from the civil police. Anneli was arrested and had his salary revoked by the current governor Eduardo Leite in 2020. Why such care in protecting Zandi's name for 10 years? He, who died having a barbecue in Tremandai in 2015. The state scheme was this: to launder the crimes of Zandi's faction for larger operations in Miami, United States. Bloodshed in southern Brazil, champagne in Miami. Anneli had a trick up his sleeve or a final move. Zandi went from drug trafficker and criminal in Brazil to a businessman in the United States, in Trump's Miami. Today in Rio Grande do Sul, there are many factions because the state has never been dominated by a single major group like PCC or CV. Several local groups emerged, such as Manos, Bala na Cara, V7, Taurus, Abertos, and they constantly dispute territory. The more disputes, the more factions emerge. At a macro level, how do they operate today? At the top, leaders give orders from inside prison or from abroad via cell phones and encrypted apps. In the middle, regional managers control cities and routes. At the bottom, soldiers sell on the streets and provide security. Everything is digital. WhatsApp, Telegram, recorded orders, accounting in spreadsheets. Revenue has exploded because they now sell cocaine, crack, marijuana, and synthetic drugs. The profit from this is much higher. How does the drug reach neighborhoods in Porto Alegre, Sapucaia, and Estio? Cocaine mainly comes from Bolivia. It enters Brazil through borders in Mato Grosso do Sul or Parana, travels by road, or comes directly through the border with Uruguay and Argentina. In Rio Grande do Sul, they use vans, trucks, small cars, boats through rivers, and even clandestine airstrips in the countryside. From wholesale, large shipments move to retail, arriving at storage locations, being divided and distributed to sales points in neighborhoods, exactly as Zandi allegedly did in Carandiru and Cidade Baixa. The government does not allow this. The problem is that Brazil has massive borders, insufficient policing, and occasional corruption. Drugs pass through the same routes as smuggling and illegal cigarettes. It is a huge flow and very difficult to stop completely. What the case shows is money laundering that was well executed for the standards of the time, but nothing overly sophisticated. He used the classic method that any mid-level gang used in the 2000s. Informal contracts with taxi permit holders, frontmen, shell companies in events and scrap, assets placed under the names of spouse, brother-in-law, and friends. This has been standard in Brazilian drug trafficking since the 1990s. It does not require a judge or a politician to make it work. Any neighborhood accountant and a dishonest notary could set up this structure. If there had been a judge or politician involved, what would appear in the case would be absurd decisions. Releasing Zandi at the last minute, investigations disappearing, witnesses suddenly changing testimony. None of that appears. What appears is the opposite. The state investigated, opened a case with 27 defendants, convicted individuals, and revoked the retirement of the corrupt police officer. In conclusion, the complexity of the laundering was high for him because he was the largest trafficker in Rio Grande do Sul at the time. But by national standards, compared to PCC, CV, or traffickers in Rio and Sao Paulo, it was relatively simple. It did not require political protection to function. The slowness of the justice system and one corrupt police officer were enough.